Good morning, everybody. Turn off the waiting room. Let's make sure I didn't strand anybody. I've done that before.
Keep an eye on that for you.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I see Danny, Roberta, hello. Taylor, hi, Margaret. And Carol, hi, guys. Nice to see. And Valerie, hello.
And if I could just say something,
Yeah.
I have managed to not open this. See, it's sealed. I've been saving this for this morning.
Oh, how fun. How fun. So I think of maybe a few other people might have done that. I saw that thread on Facebook.
I take the word reveal or launch very seriously.
How fun. You know, I've never done anything like this, so it's fun. I mean, we've done it in person, right, live back in the good old days when book launches were, you know, at bookstores. And, you know, we would have a big party and cocktails and stuff. So instead, we're going to do coffee, and it's kind of fun. This way, people from all over the world get to join us, which is fun. In fact, why don't we have you guys put in the chat where you're zooming in from? It's always fun to see that. So let me see. Amy's here from Spain. Yay. That's great. Okay, let's see. Turn off that. And Rebonto, hello. London, yay. Let's see. My chat won't open in the side window. That's weird. Zoom did an update, I think. Okay, we've got Montana, Minnesota, London, Maine, California, Montana, more coastal California. Oh, Melinda, Monterey Bay, wonderful. Washington, Bend, Seward, Alaska. I think we've got a number of Alaska folks. Oregon, Anchorage, yay. Wonderful. Well, if you're just joining us, we're having people put in the chat where you're from: Colorado, Portland, Maine. So we've spanned Alaska to Maine. Yay, this is fun. Art's in Florida. He's escaped the cold and gone down to vacation. And then there's those Alaska's folks who are upwards, what, -20 today or something. Okay, so this is weird. My chat will not open in the side window. I have to see why.
Let me know if you need me to.
Yeah, so it keeps opening in its own thing. So okay, well, I'm just gonna have to rely on you, Melinda. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I don't even, probably this time I don't need to say who I am, right? I'm Roseanne Hanson, and joining me today is, I'm going to spotlight us for the moment. Melinda, I think it'll be easier to see what's going on. Okay. Melinda Nakagawa is joining me to help moderate and do our giveaway and help with that and keep me on track. So thank you very much, Melinda, and welcome everybody. This is exciting. So this is the book launch for Master of Field Arts. I don't know if, like, those of you who saved your books to open, do you want to like open them now? Or Valerie? Okay, let's spotlight Valerie. Woohoo! Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot. She's like waited all week. Yay! How fun. Fantastic.
And thank you, Roseanne, for making it all cardboard with no trash.
Yay. Yeah, we try to keep no plastics and things as much as possible. So Valerie's enjoying that. So Melinda suggested, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never done anything like this. I talk a little bit about the genesis, like how this came to be. And first of all, it took two years to write, and how it came to be. if those of you don't know my background, is I'm a naturalist, a lifelong naturalist, literally. Here, I've got to show you guys this. This is so fun. I'm going to show you my desktop here. Literally lifelong. Can you see my? So that's me, 8 years old, with my naturalist bag already. And that's me, 57 years old, just this fall. So I thought that was fun to see. It starts early. So I've been a lifelong naturalist, thanks to my parents, and married a fellow naturalist and a writer. We're both writers, my husband, Jonathan, and I, when I was 19 years old. And we've spent the 30s, what is it, 7 years now, exploring the world and writing about it. We've written a lot of books, so natural history books. And so it was very natural for me with my field notes, which I started when I was 8 years old. Pretty much, my dad built me you're going to learn about this in the book. It's called a Stevenson screen, which is well, you're going to learn about it. It holds weather instruments, and it's what the National Weather Service, all weather stations used to house their instruments in. And you would go out every day at 4 p.m. and take the weather. And my dad built me one, and I had my little notebook, and I would go out every day after school and record the weather. And so that was really the beginning for me, honestly, of knowing that you could observe and learn and be part of nature. My parents, we camped, and I didn't stay in a hotel until I was 17 years old, partly because my parents had 5 kids. They were good Catholics. And of course they couldn't afford hotels for kids. So we explored Mexico and all over camping. And that picture showed that. So when I studied ecology and evolutionary biology in college, my field notes they were very scientific on the Grinnell method, which again, you're going to learn about in here. And they evolved though I started adding sketches, and they were really not very they were like stick figures, and I was afraid of watercolor. So I used colored pencil, and they were very rudimentary. And over the years, thanks to John Muir Laws, Claire Walker Leslie, and Hannah Hinchman, I taught myself to sketch. And so I learned that the visual element of studying something to draw it was like mind-blowing, like Jack does, boom. John Muir Laws, I hope everybody knows who Jack Laws is, has inspired us all. And over the years, I just started developing ways to simplify things, which I like to do. Learning, I like to teach. I've taught for 30 years. And this book, it's the second in the series. The first book being, I think a lot of you have, Nature Journaling for a Wildlife, which is kind of set that stage for the eight lessons. So you could break down complicated things into easy to bite chunks, right? So this has 7 chapters or sessions. And what I'm hoping to do is to lead you through becoming a master of field arts, literally. And I think within about 5 months, I'm going to come out with I want to, let's do a poll, Melinda. I'm going to do a quick poll here. Oops, I can't edit one while we're going. Well, I want to create either a sticker or a patch or maybe both that says Master of Field Arts. And when you guys feel like you have reached the point where you're like, yeah, I can do, I'm really into this, I will mail you a decal or a patch. What do you guys think? Put in the chat. Do you like patches or decals? I'm just never sure. I
both.
like both.
Absolutely both. Yeah.
Okay. Because yeah, I do decals because I put them on my water bottles, my metal water bottles, but then you run out of space. So both would be easier, wouldn't it? So fun. Shall we? Well, we're going to do a couple fun things this morning too. We're going to do a little fun contest and with a giveaway, and then we have random drawings as well. Don't worry, the contest is actually, I'm doing the hard part. You're going to do the fun part. We thought about making you guys do something contest wise, but nah, I thought that would be mean. So I'll do something hard and you guys can have fun. But let's take a look at the book. And if you have questions, just, what do you think? Just unmute and ask them. Does that work? Questions about the process, how I did the book. Let me switch to my dock camera real quick. And tell me what you kind of want to hear too. Come on, focus. Oops, went the wrong way. So let's get that parallax out of there. So it was a very different kind of a book to write. Most of the books I've written were very traditional in that you write the text first and then you illustrate it. But the way this book came to pass was quite different. I actually wrote it and designed it and did the art in parallel, all at the same time. So chapter 1, or the prologue here, Return to the Field Arts. I wrote it directly in design and brought in the art as I went. And it was a really unique process. And I felt like after a while, I really got my stride and I was able to really get it going. And it took a solid 6 months to finish everything, but with 2 years just kind of working up to it in the last 6 months was super intense to try to get it done. It was really hard to stop. I was having so much fun. As you can see, here's something I discovered that was super fun. This is Meriwether Lewis's journal from the Lewis and Clark expedition. And I realized my journal was almost exactly the same style with the wraparound leather cover. And I just super geeked out on that. Thought that was super fun. So, I went through all the chapters and I want to call out people like Olivia Carey. I don't know if you're here, Olivia, but she allowed me, for example, to use one of her fabulous pencil sketches as an example of a wonderful use of pencil sketching in a journal. Pat Kuning, I don't know if you're here. If you are, raise your hand. I'd love to call you guys out. She allowed me to use one of her maps here, which was a fabulous way to do a map in the cartography section. So, and then Jan Schwartz let me use one of her, where's my weather? I should really know exactly where all this stuff is. In the weather section, let's see. A fabulous photo of a lenticular cloud, which you guys are all going to learn. Where was that? Well, now I can't find it.
Isn't it right there on the
There they
page?
are. Thank you. 2 lenticular clouds. And then the book also has some really fun bonus sections. Again, what was my goal with writing this? And it's to inspire you guys to become lifelong naturalists. And by that, I mean, just being that curious kid for the rest of your life. What is this? What can I do with that? Can I make my own ink? Yes, you can. Can I make it out of walnuts? Yes. Can I make it out of charcoal? Yes, you can. Can I make ink out of, and that just got me going. This is a great example of being a naturalist. You're looking at something. My mesquite tree in my backyard has an intense sap dripping from it. Can I make ink from mesquite sap? Yes, I can. And interestingly, it sort of had its own shellac in it. So it's a super cool ink. Learning how to do field work, which I really encourage you to do, is that next step, like that master's degree. So I wanted to say, ever since I was, I think about 18, 19 years old, this book has been one of my favorite inspirations. It's a 40-year-old book, I think now. Gerald Durrell and his wife Lee, I don't know if they're still alive, I'll have to check, but this was one of those amazing books that just inspired me as a young person to become enmeshed in the world of being a naturalist. And here's, this is, I think, what really got me going too, was their encouraging you to dissect things and collect things. And I just love this book. So highly recommend it. It's pretty dated now, but in terms of some of the material, but it's super, super fun. So what else, Melinda, can you think of any other, anything else people want to know?
I'll just say a few comments here that rolled through. Folks are really loving your energy certified notice and that you're really eco-conscious. They've really appreciated that. You're setting a really good example.
Let me explain that real quick too. On the back of the book and in the front, there's a notice the book is printed in Tucson, Arizona at Arizona Lithographers, which is 100% run by solar energy. And the book is recycled paper, and so it's 100% post-consumer recycled paper. And so that saved I used a generator to tell you how much this saves. Per book, 1/4 acre of trees, 19 gallons of water, 104 pounds of greenhouse gases. So, and I picked it up myself. No truck across, no Chinese ship coming from China. So thank you for noticing that, everybody.
And did you hand package each of these books for us?
Yes, I did, and wrote everybody a note.
Yes. Very special.
Yeah.
When someone was asking about ideas on how to use this book with homeschool children.
Oh, wow. So I've never had kids, but I would simply piece it out in the sections. And it's not super advanced, but it's also not super beginner, but you can parse out the bits. I think every chapter would be super well suited to doing, a couple of weeks or even a month-long session with your kids, especially like reading and recording animal sign. The back of the book has some things you can cut out or pull out. My husband and I have written a guide to North American animal tracks for the Basic Essentials series. So we included part of that book. So that's like a little bookmark you can cut out. So doing animal tracks with kids and sign, there's a section on poop. Kids love poop. And stuff like that. So yeah, I think it would be well suited to that. Any other?
No, I think that's it. They're really loving the book, and they really love the special touch of your note that you've put into the books as well.
Oh, good. Well, should we do some giveaways? And then at the end, if people want to ask specific questions, we can do that. Or if people want to go after the giveaway, that's great too. Let's get you the loot. This is fun. What I didn't say, which I have in my notes, because I've never done this before. I wanted to thank you all for supporting my work by trusting me and pre-ordering a book you hadn't seen. Thank you very much. It's because of you that this book exists and why I wanted to do this party. For our pre-supporters. Also want to thank my parents. If you read in the acknowledgements, my parents just were so instrumental. My mom is still with me in 91. And in giving us the freedom to explore, and not, the only boundary we had was to be home by dark. And as my dad said, if you're going to get hurt, do it by the road so I can find you. They trusted us to be smart, which made us smart, I think. So, okay. So the first thing we're going to do, I decided to be I'm going to do the contest backwards. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start drawing something. And so I'm going to draw something in pieces. And the first person to guess what I'm drawing wins the first prize. And what we're going to do, here are the prizes. You'll get, starting with the person who guesses my crazy drawing in the chat, you'll have to write what it is in the chat, and you're going to have to be specific. And Melinda will notify everybody verbally when yay, somebody guessed it. So the prize is you'll get to choose. So the first person will get to choose from the pile. And as the pile goes down from the giveaways and stuff, it will change. You'll get to choose something. So I have my mini plant press, along with, I'm going to do a mini plant press and the mini microscope, which I forgot to pull out. Do I have one? Let me see. Well, yay, I do. So the mini pocket microscope thingy, which is really cool, which has an LED light. And so the plant press and the mini microscope, I'll have two of these. The earth palette, one Field Arts Discovery Kit with the pocket loop version. And I'll have a field notebook and pen. That's a journal. That's a blank watercolor paper journal. And also copies, unlimited, whoever wants, whoever's winning of the first book if you don't have that. So you'll have that choice. But we'll repeat these when you win, so you can choose. We'll put you on the spot. Okay, shall I swap? I'm going to swap to the document camera. Is everybody clear on the rules of the game? And I've been practicing this, and it's really hard to draw something in pieces without showing what it is, because as we naturally draw, you're feeling the shape and stuff. So this is really funny. And so who knows what I'm going to end up. I hope it's recognizable. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Oh, I've got my model over here that I'll be working from.
So just to clarify, you'll type into the chat if you think you know what the object is.
This is harder than teaching like a major class.
And you can keep guessing. I will let you know when someone gets it right. There's some really great guesses.
I have to take a sip of coffee.
Oh, Mer Bridgers. Mer
my-
Bridges guessed rattlesnake.
Oh my gosh, how did they guess? Oh my goodness. So tell us, turn on your sound and tell us what, okay, as a naturalist, you are observing shapes. And this is super cool. I'll finish drawing as you tell us what it was that clued you
Sorry,
up.
it's so dark on my camera. It just came to me. I kept thinking swan, but then I remember the neck, and I used to live in Arizona,
Aha.
and I remembered that I remembered seeing a rattlesnake on a trail once. We don't really have them as much out here in Virginia, but something with the shape of the neck.
Awesome. Well done.
Jeez.
I thought I would have to get, down, a little bit more.
No, someone else had said snake before me. They just didn't guess the right snake. So I don't know.
Yeah, we needed to be specific because of the shape of the head, and, not all snakes do this. Gopher snakes will mimic a rattlesnake. They will actually lift up like that because this snake is off the ground a little bit, raising up and putting some shadow. Like that. And of course, this one is a diamondback. I would have, eventually.
Seeing a rattlesnake on the trail does leave an impact on your memories for sure.
Yeah, I've nearly stepped on a few. And yeah, you kind of levitate, like you teletransport. All of a sudden, you're 10 feet away and you don't even know how you got there. So, but gopher snakes do this too. So I should have done that last, but since you guessed so quickly, that was awesome. Poor gopher snakes doing that get themselves killed by people who don't know
the difference.
that they're not a rattlesnake, and yeah, they get their little heads chopped off, which is sad. So first,
It's
tell
Meredith.
us what prize you would like. Do you want to see them again?
Well, I have the discovery kit, but I didn't get the one with the microscope. So I would love the mini microscope, but I have the press already if you want to save that for another prize for someone
Okay.
else.
I'll send a couple of other things, like maybe how about a journal sketchbook?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
So Melinda's, if you would send a direct message to Melinda
Will
on
do.
the chat with your address, and please write microscope and notebook. So I
Will
remember.
do. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That was awesome. That was fun. And no, I'm not going to do another one. That was super stressful. Oh my goodness. Okay. So Melinda, shall we start?
Yes.
So what I did is I took all of your names. We had, thank you so much, 155, I think, people pre-ordered the book. Woohoo, which was so awesome. So I used a system of random, I printed out all your names and random number generators in a series where I used the alphabet, and it would select letters of the alphabet, and I would go through and randomly whoever's was the third E, for example, or the second B. So we have winners on a list, and we're Melinda, you can start
Right.
calling the first name, and if you are
Okay.
present, raise your hand. And if somebody doesn't answer, then we're going to go to the next name. And
Okay.
down the list. Okay.
All
so
right, so
Melinda's
to
gonna-
raise your hand, you can go down to the bottom and look at reactions and raise your hand. And that will pop up your picture up to the top of the list so that we can see you right away to make sure we don't miss you. The first winner, drumroll, is Pam Murphy of Florence, Montana.
Oh,
Pam here.
Pam's here.
Yay.
Fantastic.
I think
so
she's
happy.
not here.
Can you unmute Pam?
She's not here, I don't think.
I unmuted. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, she's here.
Oh,
She
are
raised
you?
her
Oh.
hand.
Oh, great.
Yay. Congratulations. What
Thank you.
prize would you like? So we have the plant press, palette, the earth palette, plant press.
I have a
um,
plant press. I have a plant press, so thank you for that. Keep going.
Okay, we still have the Discovery Kit,
Earth.
which does have the plant press in it. And we have the first book and a pen and a set of a pen and the field journal sketchbook.
The earth palette is,
Hey, okay.
thank you.
All right. Pam, you can send me a private message here, Melinda, with your name and address.
Okay. Let me unraise.
Yeah,
Thank
great.
you. So glad you came.
Okay.
All right, next person, next. winner.
Okay,
We need
next.
that. I should have done a drum roll.
Yes, lucky winner. Lucky winner. I got my
Thank you.
brushes. Let's see, how do I say your name? Jackie Engel, Jaci Engel of Loveland, Colorado. Are you here, Jackie? Yay, Jackie's here.
And how do we say your name?
You got it right. It's a hard C.
Jackie.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yay!
Okay, and what prize would you like? We've got
Oh,
the books, the
man.
journal sketchbook with the pen, a discovery kit.
Tell me what's in the Discovery Kit.
Oh, that's super fun. So it's got a pocket loop. Wow, it's got a lot of stuff. A real pocket loop, you know, the jeweler's pocket loop, a plant press for tweezers, a black light, a protractor, round circle.
Yeah, I think I need one of those.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so that one's now off the table.
That's super.
Discovery
Thank
Kit.
you so much.
Oh, thank you. This is a thank you to you all for supporting my work, my book. Just a small way to say thank you. Okay.
All right. The next winner is Maggie McNutt, Wilmington. Are you here, Maggie? If you're here, you can unmute or raise your hand with a reaction. You'll pop up. Looks like she's not here.
Oh, first one, no.
Okay, all right. We're going to move on to the next one. Is Michelle Olson of Arcata, California. Michelle Olson, are you here? All right, I don't see your name in the participants either. Okay, next name, Kirsty Willian. Kirsty from Seward, Alaska.
Kirsty, are you here? I thought you were going to make it.
Yeah, I see her. Maybe she's having.
Kirsty's there. She's like, I don't know how to unmute.
I know.
Ah!
Kirsty, where are you?
She's here. I see
I
her.
see you in the list. Where
Yeah,
are
it's,
There we go.
I'm here, but I
Okay,
couldn't
yay.
find the hand.
you? Yay! Yeah. There
How
you
about
are.
a thumbs up instead?
Okay.
Yay, Kirsty.
Yay.
So which of the prizes?
Let's see, the paint set went, right?
The paint set. Actually, I can do one more paint set because I know you've got most of the stuff.
I do have most of it. And I was looking through the kit thinking, oh, God, yeah. I would love a paint set if that would be okay.
Let's do
Roseanne.
that.
That would be
Sure.
perfect. I'm heading down that way in this couple more months and would love the right colors.
Awesome. Oh yeah, it's fun. Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
And did we get down? Did you, Maggie? Excuse me, Pam Murphy. Remind me what Pam selected. Did we?
Pam got the Earth palette.
Okay,
palette.
thank you. So I'm going to do 2 earth palettes.
Okay, and Pam, just send me your address in a message, in a private message. Just go to the
Same
chat.
with Kirsty too.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. Every winner. I got Jackie and Mur already. Okay,
So like, how many is that?
that is
So one more random drawing.
okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, one more drawing. The next person is Arthur Agner. Arthur Agner, are you here?
I thought I saw Art earlier. Art.
Yeah, I see his name here. Art, just unmute
we
and
go.
say hello. There you are. I see you.
Yay,
I'm here.
okay. I'm gonna,
Okay, Art is here.
wonderful. Thank you, Art. Fantastic. And what prize
you.
would you like? We've got the Field Journal sketchbook with an all-weather pen. I've got Nature Journaling, the first book, and I've got a plant press with a microscope.
I'll take the plant press with the microscope.
Awesome. Yeah, it's fun. That's a fun little kit. So, okay.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you very
thank you
much.
for supporting the work. Okay. Now, just that was fun, and I'll get those out next week. And now, does anyone have any? You want to just ask questions? Please, just we can either use raise hand or just unmute and ask questions. We can switch to speaker view or.
When you're out in the field, and how much actual sketching do you do in the field?
Almost 100% of my work in my, let me see if I can switch back to show a view here. Almost all of my work, let's see if I can spotlight, is done in the, like right there. It depends on, like this, there was a Cooper's hawk that landed on my fence. So I was able to see through the window, and I just stood there with my notebook and sketched that with the purple pencil, which I'm really starting to like. I got that idea from Jack Laws. He was using blue, and then I saw him switch to purple when I was with him once, and I really like the purple better than the blue. But anyway, I do those in the field, and it's because I'm using it as also as a learning. So here's this butterfly literally landed on my notebook when I was having lunch at the Desert Laboratory outside. And so I did a really quick gesture sketch of the shape and the funny little nose and noted the dots. And then I had to look up though, what the heck was that? And then I finished doing the color and the finished sketching using looking it up in a field guide, because it then of course flew away as they are wont to do. But this was done right there while I was in outside. I just do, they take maybe 15-20 minutes. So at the most, just sort of.
Most of the time you're stationary.
Yes and no. I set up my kit so that I can, my book is fairly rigid, so I can walk with it out, and I keep my palette with my watercolors right there. So I can hike with my book like this, and I can walk along, see something, write it down, sketch, because my goal is to record what I'm seeing. And so, yeah, maybe I'll sit down for 5 or 10 minutes, but then I'll get up and walk to another space. It just depends on what's going on. I hope, does that answer your question?
Yes.
I think I saw, were there other questions? I saw some hands raised. Yeah.
There's 3 people with hands raised, and I have a list of questions in the chat here. So
Okay.
if you want to go to one of the hand raised. we
Oh,
can-
sure. How about Kirsty?
Thanks, Roseanne. So I'm behind on catching up on your classes and your tutorials, and I will do it. So this might be a question that's already answered, but do you have, or will you be doing more instruction on like your session 3 on cartography?
I can do a repeat. It's also recorded and on the tutorials page,
Okay.
and on your special book page. Let me drop that address in the chat real quick. Let's see. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to grab that from the email. don't forget this page here. It is a private web page just for you guys.
Mhm.
Here. And I did put any tutorial that directly responds
Okay.
to the Master of Field Arts. I also posted on that page. But go to the main tutorials page as well. There are now at least a dozen or more free tutorials, and cartography is one of them. But
Okay.
I can do some more, and I'm going to be developing more advanced classes and kind of a membership area where, if you bought the book, you would get access before anybody else,
Mhm.
kind of thing. So
Great.
hoping-
Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. Thanks.
Sure. Okay, let's see.
There's a
Deborah,
couple-
go ahead. Oh, do you want to ask? Go ahead, Melinda.
Yeah, there's a couple questions about your watercolor notebook. So Andrea would like to know where to find the watercolor notebook with the same dimensions as your book.
Oh, are you talking about this one?
It's not clear, Andrea. I don't know if you can
Yeah,
unmute.
if you could clarify, because this is exactly the same size. It's 9 by 6. And I do sell these, and it's the 90-pound watercolor paper. I really like it. It stands up to a fair amount of watercolor, but it's not super thick, and so you can write on it as well. It's got a smooth-ish tooth. It's got enough tooth that the watercolor looks really nice, but it's not super textured, so you can write with a pen and it looks pretty.
Yeah, that was what I was asking. Thank you very much.
Okay, sure. So that's in my shop, Field Journal Sketchbook, and that is assembled in Tucson as well by the same printer. And the paper is from either BEE paper, although they've been having supply issues. So I also get it from Speedball, which is the same as, gosh, I just had a mental blank. It's a huge company they've got all the different brands, Speedball and
They make the
Pentalic.
handbook journals. They make the handbook journals,
Handbook
I
journals,
think.
yeah. So I get the paper from them. Okay. Do you want to do another? Chat question?
Yeah, I think you've answered. Let's see, some questions about maybe doing some more sessions regarding your book. Oh, and the inks Teresa is interested in, asking, do you use them in your fountain pen to do the sketches
No.
with walnut ink?
Very good question. Homemade inks, like here's homemade walnut ink and my mesquite ink. I would not put those in a good fountain pen. You use a dip pen. And the reason is they have some caustic things in them, either salts or vinegar, acids that will degrade the metal in your pen really badly. Also, the shellac in some of them, like the mesquite ink, will gum it up really quickly. So just use a dip pen. Don't put that stuff. You can buy, then it's in the book, Master of Field Arts. You can buy walnut ink from Norton, but it's not true walnut ink. It's a synthetic, and you can use that in your fountain pen, but don't use the natural stuff probably. I know someone who put India ink in their fountain pen and it was a complete throwaway. They could not get it out. It totally shellacked up there.
Is that synthetic walnut ink, is that waterproof?
Oh, no.
Okay.
It's water soluble.
All right, I know we have a couple hands raised.
Yeah, let's get to Deborah and then Lisa. They've been patiently waiting, so hi, Deborah.
First of all, congratulations. I'm so excited for you. And it's so generous of you to do this session today. I was wondering what in the new book, which of the sessions was most interesting for you to put together and which was the most challenging?
Good question. Thank you. Let's see. I'll let Melinda lower your hand because I have to think about this for a minute.
Sure.
I would say I should have been prepared, huh? I had had the most fun, honestly, with the ink chapter, because I really pushed myself to develop some tools, such as creating your own palettes, just like you have a watercolor palette. I thought, well, let's make palettes for ink textures, because when I'm sketching by ink, I tend to just do the same thing. And by creating a little palette, then I remember, oh, I should really try, doing a different, like wavy forms or something like that, or practicing my leaves, and I got a lot better. So that was the most, oh, cool. And the most challenging, I would say, was actually diving into the whole meteorology, weather. Even though I've been a lifelong weather nerd, I had to go deep into the science behind it and get all the terminology and everything right. And then challenge myself to apply that to, okay, if I observe using all these rules, if I observe certain things, can I make a reasonable prediction? And the answer was, yeah, you can, including how to tell the temperature by cricket. You're going to read about that. I won't spoil it. Fun. Okay, and then Lisa, go ahead and unmute and there we go.
My question really is, how did you decide what to include in the various chapters?
It was, some of it was just really obvious, it was to build as a naturalist. So I knew I wanted animal tracking. I knew I wanted certain, like the field, like field studies. I wanted to talk a little bit about the collecting things either by drawing them or, if you can legally collect specimens. It's actually really cool. And if you do so with a very careful look at what you're doing, it can be one of the coolest things, like having a collection of skulls or something like that. You can also buy them from professional suppliers and replicas, which are super cool too. But so then I knew I wanted some skills. So kind of advanced skills. In the first book I wrote, it was much more basic in terms of, okay, let's get started drawing. Let's get started with some very, very minimal watercolor. And then I wanted to go into deeper skills, like, how to be much more, have a lot more skill with your ink or your pencil. Oh, and that was the other thing, is I wasn't a big fan of pencils. I have to admit, I never really used them. And then I thought, well, I really need to learn about this before I dismiss it. So doing the research on pencils, I got all excited about pencils. So you'll enjoy that chapter, because pencils are pretty darn cool and a very important milestone in human development. So I did a lot of research on that. So that was another fun thing. So thank you for asking.
Thank you.
It totally makes you appreciate the humble pencil, doesn't it? I was just thinking about even the fact that we can carry around a pen that's disposable is just crazy if you think about maybe 2 generations back where a pen was really precious. So it just makes us think about how we value our things.
Exactly. And also thinking about the first part of the book has a section on early naturalists, and what the reason sketching is so intrinsic to being a naturalist is that's how it all started back before there were cameras, iPhones and things like that. Almost everyone had a classical education that included extensive art, not just basic finger painting in grade school, but serious, real, like years and years and years of sketching, watercolor, oil, everything. So these people who were out in the field, the Lewis and Clark and Darwin and Humboldt, they sketched what they saw. And imagine the conditions they were in. And like Melinda said, they were using ink bottles and dip pens to get that done on a ship, in the North Pacific, or down the Pacific coast, or in Antarctica. As you'll see, it's pretty amazing.
That might be just a great experiment for us to try, right? Like using your book, learning how to make a quill pen, some ink, go outside and experiment. How difficult and challenging it was for the early explorers to just observe what you're seeing and to see everything with fresh eyes. I mean, we could still do that, with fresh eyes and go out and see. Does it feel different to look at nature when we do that?
I think it does. It makes me slow down.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. I mean, I'm carrying my Mesquite ink. It doesn't dry very fast, so that's one of the challenges. My first sketch, I had to close the book, so I had to go, and then the pages stuck together.
Oh.
So that was funny. But yeah, so the making the quill pen was really fun. It's super cool, super fun.
Well, it looks like folks are just commenting on some of the great things that they're seeing in the book. And Bonnie noticed that she practiced telling the temperature by crickets all last summer, which is really cool.
That's a fun kid activity. So that'll be, for those of you homeschooling, you'll see that on the book. I can't remember what page it's in, the weather chapter. And that is, it'll combine math and observation, and they could even draw what they see. So that would be fun. I like Cindy's question about, I see your use of field notes, meaning the small Field Notes brand little books that I use for my, you'll read about this in the Master of Field Arts, but I use a system that Grinnell was a proponent of, especially when I'm in the field, either on an expedition, working for a biological survey, or on my own, just overlanding a long journey, long camping trip, whatever. And you're busy during the day, you're like moving. I use a small notebook to jot things down, remind myself what's going on, and then at the end of the day, I transfer that into my main notebook. So it's a small notebook, big notebook system that works really, really well if you're moving a lot. Otherwise, if I'm fairly slow and casual, I can keep this out, and I don't use this necessarily. I also use it for indexing too, and you'll read about that in the book.
Valerie's asking a question about using pencils. She said, if using a pencil, do you need a fixative afterwards to prevent smearing?
Yeah, especially if you use your notebook a lot, like mine, it moves a lot. I'm always flipping, looking things up. And so if you use a pencil sketch, especially if it's a softer pencil, it's going to smear. So either buy a fixative, but be careful you don't get your pages stuck together. Make sure it dries really thoroughly. And I would test that, make sure that it doesn't over time make your pages stick together. Otherwise, you could also put a tissue paper over it. But pure pencil in an active field notebook can be very challenging. So Jude has raised your hand, so let me bring you. Yeah.
I'm from Portland, also a naturalist and teacher and artist and nature journaler, and bravo to you.
Thank you.
I have a question about your leather bound journal. Do you use a different leather cover for each one, or do you?
Oh, good question. And that's covered in the book. I do talk about that and why I do it that way. No, this cover has been with me for 36 years. My husband made it for me. It's just a simple piece of cowhide, and I lace the paper in with it's leather shoelace.
Yes, I saw that. So when you're done with that journal, then you take the cover off
I take the pages out and they archive in standard 9x6 3-ring binders.
Okay, so that's why you use the 3-ring.
Yep. And it's standard. So, and then I index it. So I've got dozens and dozens of these. So, and I put the dates on the spine, and then I can find things. Like I said, we do we write books. My husband's always using my field notebooks for he does a lot of magazine writing. Like he'll write up a journey that we did, like across, we just did the Dalton Highway in Alaska. So he's writing it for a magazine, but he's like, can I borrow your field notes, please? Because he doesn't keep field notes. I charge him for it though. He has to.
Well, I need to tell you, I've already gone through your whole book once.
Okay.
Now I'll go back for the bug eye view.
Great. I'm so glad. Yeah. And that system works for me, but it doesn't work for everybody. It's just,
Right.
Whatever works for you, do what you like. You can't do a perfect double page spread with this. It's more like a spiral, right? Because it won't be perfect, but it works for me. It's very protective of my pages, and then I can lace in things like I keep a envelope with wax paper and little glassine little envelopes and viewfinders. I've got my weather notes, my cloud types, color stuff, moon phases. So I always have that with me. And my little palette fits right in the back where I put my watercolor. So that works for me. All right.
Before we wrap up, I just want to double check with the winners. So I have the addresses for Meredith, Pam, Jackie, Kirsty, but Art, I'm still waiting. I don't know if you are having trouble with the chat.
Is he still on the call?
Yeah.
I'll send it over right away.
Okay, you can maybe email Roseanne if you can't figure out how to use the chat. That will work too, right, Roseanne?
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure we doubled up and that I got the right address, because sometimes people move or they're in a different place, and I don't want to end up, having it get lost in the mail. So great. Well, this was so fun. I want to again thank everybody for the support and helping make this happen. It's all about our community, and I'm super happy. This was so much fun. And so now I need a new project. I actually had it was like postpartum depression when I was done. I was like, seriously, I was having so much fun writing it that when I was done, it was like, oh, I need a new project. So I actually have a new project that I'm working on for the next year. And you've seen part of it, the inks and things. It's called Chroma Sonorensis. And I'm going to be doing a Chroma Borealis as well. And I'm going to spend a year exploring 10 colors in the Sonoran Desert through plants, soil, by making inks and paints and then painting with it. And it's going to be a book, but very specialty book, but it'll have recipes for the inks and paints. But I'll be going on expedition to go find, for example, the Maya. Okay, so the Maya, you guys know about the Mayan blue. Who knows about Mayan blue made from Indigofera, indigo plants? Well, I discovered that there is a Sonoran Desert version called Indigofera sufredicosa that grows in the Rio Mayo, and the Mayo Indians in northern Mexico also use the blue in their dyes. So I'm going to go find that plant and amongst many other cool things, mesquite ink and things. And then I'm going to repeat it up in Alaska in the boreal zone and the Arctic zone too. So that's my new project to keep me from being I've got to have a project. So, all right.
Meredith is asking, maybe this connects with what you were just talking about earlier, the lake pigment workshop. Is that part of one of your new projects?
Yes, it is. Just learning how to do that. I do a workshop on pigments, making paint from wild pigments, such as, got, you know, got some here, I think. No, I don't have an immediately. Oh yeah, I do. Like, for example, collecting pigments as I go to places. This is cool. This isn't too far from you guys. This is up on the, so those of you in California, this is from, see the gold sparklies in that? Whoa, sorry. So this is McClure's Beach, which is on Point Reyes. So you've probably been there, Melinda. You hike down, way down that little canyon. And this is an ancient quaternary dune deposit with gold mica in it. So I took a tiny little sample and it made the most gorgeous paint. So that I'm just super into that. And then people kept asking me, well, can we do a workshop on making paint from plants? And I'm like, oh my God, do you guys know how hard that is? It's way chemistry. And so I thought, okay, let's try it. And that actually is what got me the idea to do the Chroma sonorensis, was getting into the lake pigments. For example, I just did, succeeded in making prickly pear paint from prickly pear fruit and prickly pear cactus ink as well, which was super fun.
Is that fugitive? Like, does it fade?
Almost all plant-based lake pigments are going to be fugitive. Remember the famous Scarlet Lake pigment? It was super famous for being fugitive. And was it Whistler or was it, I can't remember if it was Whistler, who it was, a famous painter who loved it and used it, and everybody knew it was fugitive and he used it anyway. Because he figured, hey, I'm just going to sell the painting, won't be mine after that. And all of his paintings, if you look at like digitally restored what the Scarlet Lake would look like if it wasn't fugitive, his paintings were way different, because they went from bright red to a very, very pale pink. Like here's Rose Madder. I'm about ready to scrape this off and turn it into paint. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, thanks for asking about that. And that is what got me going. And then again, the naturalist thing kicks in. You know, you're walking around, you're thinking, can I make paint from that? It gets kind of silly. So I think most people I didn't think we would be on this long. So I think if we want to, start signing off, that's fine. I'm totally, thank you so much for all the great questions too. That was so awesome. And I hope, okay, we're going to have to do a check-in, and let's check in maybe 4 to 5 months-ish. I'm going to touch base with you guys and see how you're doing with the book. And then I'll be sure to ping you when I got to design a Master of Field Arts patch and sticker. I got to think about it, what it's going to look like and say. Oh, hey, Janice, thank you for coming. I've known Janice for how long? Long time, 30 years? Yay. Wonderful naturalist in our region, and a great proponent for wolves and jaguars. Yay. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to switch to gallery view. Let's see. And unspotlight myself. That way we're kind of going to end with seeing everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you, Melinda, for helping me. I really needed the help. This was awesome. And please send me any questions as you go through the book, or if you find any errors, of course, and just let me know. I'd love the feedback, questions, or if you're struggling with something, what I don't understand, please let me know.
Roseanne, why don't you take a screenshot of the gallery view, then you'll have it for your records on who.
I'm recording the whole thing, but
okay.
that is a great idea. I'm doing so now. Yay. because we've got several pages of people. Perfect. Thank you all for coming and have a wonderful weekend. It's beautiful here in Tucson. So, all right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, Ray Bonto.